Hi, this is Cindy
And Michael.
from Part-Time Permies, and just give us a verification if you can hear us. I know it looks like there's a little bit of a delay on the start here. So there are a couple people in the room already. So a few people. I see your mom's in the room chatting. Hello. And Bree and Incense Shop. Welcome. And Suburban Hillbilly. Okay, cool. So people are joining in here. Good. We have sound.
Yep, Suburban Hillbilly, you're on time.
Yep. So, yeah, so we didn't get a foraged food feature in this weekend because it's been very busy, and there's a cat who wants a lap.
I know. He was sleeping on the bed a moment ago.
He heard us start the show and
I
wanted
went
to be a part
check
of it.
on him to see that he was in the house.
Yes. So Helix is going to join our from the lap view. Anyway, so did get 2 videos done, but didn't get featured forage food this week because crazy weekend. But let's see who else just joined in. Green Gables just joined in. Hello. I think that's the only person I missed there. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, but we did get a couple videos done this week. So 2 collaboration videos actually. So if you haven't seen them, you can check them out. One is Getting Closer to Your Food. That's with Haywire Homestead collaboration. So you can check out their page. I did link their page in the description below. If you haven't heard from them, I think they're an up and coming channel. And the other one was a holiday dessert collaboration in which we did poached pears. So those are the 2 videos of this week.
Did you finish the second part of the poached pears?
No, I have not. That will be coming this week. But that was in collaboration with Two Family Homestead, and of course they have each one of these YouTube channels have their whole playlist of everybody who was involved in those collaborations. And I think Two Family Homestead has something like up to 40 people who said they would make a video or something. So I haven't checked out the whole
How many
playlist.
people made a video?
I haven't checked out the whole playlist yet, so I'm not sure how many ended up making a video, but I know they're still kind of coming in as well. So, okay. Linda Taylor showed up. Hello. And Valerie. Hello. For those of you guys who are Justin Rhodes Premium member, I missed you guys tonight. Had some technical difficulties getting in the room, apparently. There's a few of us who missed out, which is darn. But that was on the to-do list today, but didn't work out from our end, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, I don't have a hat on today. I wasn't...
No hat?
Yeah, it depends. A lot of times I'm either... we're either outside working, or if I have to do anything downstairs with the pasta...
Yeah.
You
have a hat on then.
Yeah, hair restraint. And by the time you put a hair on in the morning or whenever during the day, take
by
it
the
off.
time you put your hair on?
Put my hair on, my hat on. Yeah.
Yeah, so today we actually went to Ann Arbor during the day. It was my niece's birthday this week, so we were having a family birthday party. So it was a happy birthday to Holly, who just turned 5 this week, and had a birthday party at Grandma and Grandpa's house. So that was fun. So we were there all day today, and we only got back probably 3 hours ago or so. Or less, yeah.
Probably.
Because the other thing we did was stop by our friend's farm and pick up a turkey on the way home, and got this cool shot of her old historic farm.
They have an early 1900s house and barn that they've restored over quite a few years.
Late 1800s.
Maybe it's late 1800s. Yeah. So it's a small part. They only have 5 acres at this point, but it's a traditional old homestead that's been added on to a little bit.
So the moon had just come out. She was doing her evening chores when we showed up.
The ducks and the horse are actually in the background.
Yeah, you can actually see the ducks outside, and the horse is in the...
Wyatt is
in the doorway waiting for his dinner.
There's 2 donkeys running around somewhere.
Yeah, they're probably
in the next. They're normally next to the horse.
Yeah, they're probably in there. So they have a nice property. So we buy our turkeys from them.
Whenever they have them.
Yep.
They do a dozen plus most years.
Yeah.
Depends on how many they get and how many survive. But
it's for their kids' 4-H projects, I believe. So their kids raise the turkeys and sell them.
For their scholarships.
Yes. Yeah, they sell them for their scholarships. That 1870s homestead, hello. So yes,
we were in your direction earlier today.
We were.
Not quite that far, but almost.
And you know what's funny? I saw a picture on your Instagram account of all the snow you guys had, and the snow was coming down on this side of the state, but it wasn't really sticking. I think it was just too warm. But as we drove east, we went to Ann Arbor. As we drove east, it definitely was sticking more on the east side of the state than here, but melted before we left. So I don't know if it's still on the ground by you guys.
Yeah, it warmed a little, about freezing.
Yeah.
It was actually about freezing this morning for the first time. It got pretty cold for a few days.
Yesterday
we've had some flurries almost every day for a week.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Not much accumulation. Yeah. I almost put the plow on. So we got like 1.5 inches, but it wasn't really worth plowing. And we do our neighbor's driveway too. They have gravel, so it's even. I don't plow their driveway. You know, I save them the money and the time of doing it, unless we get like 2.5, 3 inches. Yeah. That's when I'll go over there and plow. Yeah. Pretty much whenever we do ours, but it's not worth it on an inch.
We could have, except we didn't have time to stop
by. We were running. Yeah, we were over in Plymouth, in our Plymouth area. Yeah. And and we had to turn around and come back here.
Technically, they're Ann Arbor, but they are right on that border, like a mile from that border. So, yeah. So we went over for that. We'll be going that direction again, probably on Thanksgiving Day for dinner in Plymouth, and then just for our day trip over. So yeah, we were very close to you guys. And we do that every once in a while, especially around the holidays, right? So yeah, those were the main things today. Man, we did have our final permaculture class this week as well. So I did want to kind of go over that. And if you guys are interested or in Michigan or close enough where you could get to Kalamazoo, they do run a once a month permaculture class, growing class, through the growing season. So it's about 6 months or 7 months of class, including a site visit in that. I don't know if they restrict the distance on the site visit.
Probably, well, a little bit.
But it is a really good class that I took this summer. And I did link all of their information in the description below as well. It's Lillie House Kalamazoo. So for anyone who's local, that is a great place to go. And he's even starting to talk, because the whole growing class is half of like a PDC, basically. The other half of that information would be more the building side of things. And he's even talking about setting up a winter class, which would be once a month, that would do the building part of PDC, which is a permaculture design course. And that would be able to be fully certificate. If someone does both halves, you could be fully certified as PDC,
whatever that's worth.
Well, for people who are going to go and do services for other people and analyze.
If you're going to do it professionally,
if
you're doing it for yourself, it's more important to just do it than get a certificate for it.
Yeah, but it is kind of interesting. I mean, it's a lot of information, and in that class, they might even go over like rocket mass heaters and all these different building projects you could do, how to build different style buildings and homes. And
well, they're going to be making a tour stop over here, and pretty soon after we finish our greenhouse, they have to make a tour to.
Are they?
Show how to properly build greenhouses.
Oh. After we do ours?
Yeah, when ours is done in another week or two.
Well, we will be making a video on what we're doing with that, and hopefully we could finish it this weekend. I'm hoping.
Hopefully.
Because we do have a little bit more available time because of the holiday, other than the day we're driving back to the east side of the state. So now. Class was kind of interesting. We were going over a little bit on different designs. So just to kind of go over the first food forest that he considers the first food forest in the U.S. other than the Native American food forest, basically, because they did fairly actively manage the land, but would have been Mount Vernon with George Washington. So he has some pictures of Mount Vernon and the orchards and all the polyculture around
that was
the
all
trees.
Yeah, that was very. They've still maintained most of that.
Oh yeah, they do.
That's a majorly funded park.
Yeah, it is. So that's
they had the first winery there, right? European style
You
winery, I
know, I
think was.
haven't been there, so it's on my
I think they
wish list to
still
go to.
grow and still produce a little wine. Yeah.
Uh,
Anyways, they have a very strong agricultural component
yeah,
because he had a very strong agricultural component to his interests.
yeah. Um, I'm trying to see if I missed anything in the chat. Oh, you got some subscribers and followers in the
I don't
room.
think we're doing a Thanksgiving video this year because
We
we
did a
go.
whole series
We did it
last year.
last year. We did it
Yeah.
as a. We actually did it Thanksgiving heading into
We did
Christmas.
Thanksgiving
That
as
was
holiday. We
yeah.
videotaped our Thanksgiving preparation.
And that actually happened the weekend after Thanksgiving.
No, it was Thanksgiving.
No,
It was
because
it was the Friday or Saturday.
it was Saturday.
It was Saturday.
I think it was Saturday because
Yeah.
we always go to Cindy's sister's
Yeah.
house for her
But it was that
husband
weekend. Yeah.
Cooks Thanksgiving. So
Yeah.
I'm not at this point. I've not been asked to do anything for Thanksgiving. So
No. Where well, the only thing you're going to be doing is maybe helping where we can at my sister's house.
yeah, I'll do whatever they need.
Yeah.
But I've cooked for 300 to 500 people for 15 years. So I've cooked a few Thanksgivings for a few people.
Yeah, you get this year off pretty much, unless Dave needs your help. So anyway,
sometimes I would help with the gravy or the carving the turkey,
or making sure it's
something simple,
finished
whatever
when
needs
it's
to be done.
finished or whatever it is. That's my tags for work. So yeah, so that is that's coming up, but we're not doing anything special for that. Except if you're interested in holiday meal ideas, check out our playlists because we do have that whole series of everything holiday related, from the side dishes to dessert.
In the poached, you asked if anything changed on the menu. The poached pear video from this week is a good all around holiday item.
Yeah.
And we have an advanced version coming with a few other components.
Yeah.
Although I don't really give the rest, I just throw them together and lead you in the direction to go find the recipes on that.
On different ideas for how to make it fancy.
Yeah.
You do put it together.
How to plate it.
Yeah. How to plate it fancy like a restaurant would.
We made some Sabaglione or Zabaglione, which I didn't go through the steps of that, but I think that can be looked up or YouTube.
But the basic idea of how to make a poached pear is
that's done in full detail.
And that video is up this week. So, and you can put that with ice cream if you want to keep it simple. You could just put it with ice cream, or you could put it on a salad, or you could put it. There's so many things you could stuff it with blue cheese.
It's great with cheese boards, and we said game. I love doing it with game as a sweet component with duck or venison. Sweet and acidic and spiced. Put it on some oatmeal today.
Quail Hollow. Hi. So. Yeah, and our friend Stefan, who's in Ohio, commented on the video.
He's in the French-speaking part of Ohio.
Stefan is a part of the Pratt Pack. If you guys are in the Pratt Pack on Pratt Family Homestead's Facebook group. And he's always posting pictures on his Instagram account of different food things that he makes, from sourdough to all this charcuterie stuff. Well, he was talking about, I posted that in the morning, and he was, I think, the first comment on there saying that now he wants lunch because he wants to put poached pear on foie gras.
Well, that's actually classic to do poached pear because it's sweet. Foie gras is a little sweet, especially if you've done a wine poach, and then typically you do it with like a wine jelly or fruit compote. So it is an ideal pairing with a upscale liver, pate, or foie gras.
You aren't doing Thanksgiving this year either. Well, not there. Yeah, it's like we're going to places for Thanksgiving. We're going somewhere else, not on Christmas, but near Christmas, and we might be hosting New Year's this year.
Might do New Year's. We haven't done that for a while.
Yeah. And that might be a partial hosting.
The rest of the family on Cindy's side is all fair. They're all within 20 minutes of each other or so. Yeah. And so they're on the other side of the state. So it's easier
for us to go there.
For us, and Cindy's sister's having a baby soon, and so it's just easier for us to go that way. Yeah.
So, and she's due like just after the new year, but might actually deliver early. So we'll see. Anyway, so other things from the permaculture class, we did some tastings. I didn't get pictures of the tastings, but a sunchoke soup. And sunchokes are a great, easy thing to grow for a calorie crop and use instead of potatoes and stuff. which is kind of what the sunchoke soup was. It's like a potato soup, but with
Yeah, you can
sunchokes.
and you can actually. We talked about sunchokes and how to use them last week,
Yeah.
and we didn't talk about soup, but you can always puree a root vegetable into a soup by adding more water.
Mhm.
And if it's a little too grainy or not, you can add potato. So you can do partial potato, partial sunchoke to either bulk it up because it gives a nice, even, mellow flavor and texture.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's sunchoke soup is awesome. Frequently, it's finished with fancy things like truffles and truffle oil and fancy restaurants. So I've definitely done that, and we didn't talk about that last week.
No.
But it's really tasty.
Yeah.
And sunchokes grow like weeds once they get started. They just grow and grow, and you can just pull up tons of them.
So we planted them under our apple trees. So we do have some there, and I actually did get some more red sunchoke bulbs from not bulbs.
There's
the
quite
rhizomes.
a few varieties of edible sunchoke. A lot of them are really garden or were animal feed, but there are some really small ones. There's some really large ones, and slightly different flavors.
So yeah, I mean it's just a little root knob, but this one's very dirty. They pulled it straight out of the ground and didn't wash it off, but we'll just put it in the ground here.
Yeah.
It's actually a red skin variety that grows a lot bigger than this. The bigger ones.
So you can get you get little nubs this size. You can get them almost that big into clusters. There's some giant ones. I know Johnny Seeds has about 6 or 7 available.
Yeah.
They're probably one of the bigger sellers of sunchokes, but they're so easy. A lot of times you just get them at your farmer's market or some of your higher end or specialty food stores have them, and you can just plant those. They shouldn't have any growth inhibitors or anything on them. So why spend all the money to mail the stuff around? Just buy whatever. If it was in a grocery store, it's a food variety that's a preferred edible.
Although it gets expensive in some grocery stores. Like you could get them like $5 a pound here.
$5-6 a pound in like a Whole Foods type setting or a specialty store. Whereas the farmer's market's probably doing a quart of them for $4 or $5. But a pound of them is plenty because they're like potatoes. You can cut them up. A pound of them is plenty to set your whole garden bed that you want.
Ooh, they're doing a smoked mangalitsa ham.
Ooh, that sounds good. I just smoked 2 hams. I don't know if that made it up on pictures. I just finished smoking 2 hams last Saturday. I have a couple pictures. They're on Lightroom, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, finished the bacon Friday afternoon, smoked the hams Friday afternoon through Sunday morning or Saturday morning. Pulled them off before market. Let them rest for about 5 days this week.
Yeah.
Because I like the smoke to kind of mellow out and get in there. It changes. And then I just got them wrapped up on Friday and in the freezer. So our freezer is completely full now.
Yeah.
We bought a new freezer a few weeks ago. Both of them are full. Got 2 turkeys, a full hog with 2 smoked hams, all the bellies smoked, cooked pancetta, and all the other good bits. So yeah, we're full up right now.
Yeah, Suburban Hillbillies having quiet Thanksgiving. No family and friends they're all doing their own thing. Son lives 12 hours away. Yeah, that's hard. When we were in New York and my whole family was here and your whole family was in different places. It's just the 2 of us. In fact, he was cooking for
I was usually working
700 people.
Yes, usually working about a 16-hour day
and I was at home and did my own thing usually at that point too. So, but I kind of like those quiet days once in a while where you don't have a whole lot to do. That's my relaxation. So hey Tina, glad you could join us. Sorry about I guess the roads were having problems. They forgot to keep checking for people who are looking to get into their chat, so that's what happened. But anyway, so we'll keep going. I do have some other things. I have some Crohns. We had Crohns Law, which actually, if you go down below and onto Lillie House Kalamazoo's Instagram page,
they put Friday, I think.
They put that picture up probably yesterday because they made it for yesterday.
I saw it Friday.
Maybe it's Friday night.
I saw it Friday. I already knew about it.
Okay, so we ate that yesterday. We're
How many of you know what Crohn's are? Have had Crohn's?
And
not the disease, or
not the disease.
Genetic issues.
That's not not horribly genetic.
Well, yeah, they're
somewhat genetic.
Irritable gut issues versus
the food.
A food spelled
which is another.
Too, right?
It's CROSNES. And it's pronounced Crohn's. And I'm
I
trying to
started
see.
using those back at the field club.
They're kind of cool shaped little things.
I've gotten American ones. I've gotten the French imported ones.
Yeah.
The French imported ones were crazy expensive, but
I have so many other seeds in here that I have to put in the ground outside. We have marshmallow, skirret, Turkish rocket, some lupins, some perennial flax. That one I have to sow inside. Fennel. It's a bulbing fennel.
that's a perennial fennel.
Blood vein sorrel.
I like the blood vein sorrel a lot. That's
cardoons.
Cardoons I worked with a bunch. How many of you worked with cardoons? Know what cardoons are?
Anybody know what cardoons or Crohn's
It's a very Italian, Mediterranean, Southern Mediterranean food. That's usually, if you grew up in those traditions and food, you might know.
And there's a couple.
In France, they use some cardoons too.
Yeah, and it's the same as some
artichoke family, I think.
It is artichoke. It is. Yeah. Some people grow them for the artichoke, and some people grow them for the bulb.
Yeah, slightly different variants, but yeah, they're very similar. Yeah.
Yep. We got some columbine. I do have some wild outside that comes back every year, but we'll have some more here. Those are shade loving, so great for food forest as a early attractor for some pollinators as well. Perennial leeks, which I have to start inside. Some motherwort, Chinese yam, salsify. A lot of these you can just cast outside because they need that cold weather.
Salsify is a really long. I think they have a really long seed on it.
A long seed. I think it's one. Yeah, I think it's one of the fuzzy ones.
I like salsify a lot.
Yeah, it's the fuzzy seeds.
Oh, okay.
It's the little fuzzy ones.
It's different than I thought.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the parsnip that has the really long. It's almost like a rosemary.
Yeah.
Rosemary leaf.
Somewhere in there I have Crohns. I found my Crohns. These are just little baby Crohns. They grow pretty big, but they're like this knobby little thing.
Looks like little white wormy snail, or looks like
almost like a snail.
Or little Michelin men. Yeah, you usually harvest and eat them about 2 to 4 times that size.
I don't know if it'll focus on it. Yes.
And so they've got little bulby nubs.
We had ones that are about this big, and they're definitely like almost like marshmallows that are stuck together in a row.
They're in the mint family.
Yes, they are. But you eat the root.
I was also told they're one of those things. Once you get them in, put them in an area you want them, because again, you'll never get them all pulled out, and they will spread.
Yes.
But they grow up and they give this root, and you can put it raw in salads. You can saute them in butter. They're mostly crunchy and very mild, neutral flavor.
They're kind of like water chestnuts.
Yeah, they're more like textural, but they're really fun to put in salads, and nobody knows what they are.
Yeah.
We put them in our holiday salads.
It has a fun shape.
For a couple of years, we do these crazy salads.
So we have those. Those will be fun. And my thought is actually I also from permaculture class got a bunch of bulbs. So some of them are tulip bulbs, Turkish tulips. We have some other wild tulips. How do you say that one? Kamas?
I don't know.
I have to look that one up.
Seen those.
About 10 of those, 10 allium unifolium, which is an onion, a perennial, and some mixed crocuses. So some of these are edible, some of them are more to attract the beneficial insects and your pollinators. But basically, if you plant a lot of these bulbs, you can actually layer them. You can put your big bulbs in a bottom layer, cover them.
Your family has square stems. Interesting.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
All the mint family. And there was one other family that Daryl Patton said has square stems.
He did talk about square stems.
It was the mint, and I knew about the mint.
That was at Home Serves America when we did the walk with him. He was talking about square
stems.
stems.
And that is in the video. So you can check out that video. The walking with... Did
you ever send that video to him?
No, I think I forgot to send the second one.
Send me the link.
I will. I'll send him that link. Thank you for reminding me.
Send him the other link.
I did send him the old one. But he never replied to it.
So he's busy.
Got it. But anyway, so what you do with the bulbs, you can dig low to where your big bulbs will go, layer those in, put a layer of dirt down, put the smaller ones, and you can stagger them so they're not like growing up from each other. And then put another layer down and put your tiny ones like your crocuses on the top layer, and then cover those. And then I always think about putting the Crohn's around that area too, because there'll be a ground cover around all those bulbs, and the bulbs all grow and then flower in the spring, fairly early spring. And you have them just constant rotation because the crocuses will be first, and then you'll get, you go through your other ones.
I hope my mom's taking notes because this is a lot of seeds and stuff for her to get in this winter.
Your mom?
Yeah.
Are you gonna put a bunch of seeds down there?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff wouldn't do that well in their area.
Yeah,
It's
they need a
a
good
lot of
frost.
stuff really likes the cold
Yeah.
more than they get. So.
But the Crohn's would be a good one to grow around that because they'll be a good ground cover for the rest of the season, as the spring plants die back a little bit. So that was my thought anyway, and I have
Yeah, I was wondering if the crocuses, generally the saffron, the best ones for saffron are not available in the U.S.
But these are mixed crocuses.
Yeah, and for some reason they've kind of embargoed the specific ones for saffron.
Oh, we had another conversation about a different spice, really. We're talking about, where's it? I'm picturing it. The one that looks like a little flower bud.
Clove?
Yes, cloves.
See, I know.
I know. I figured you would know. And where those come from? Do you know where most of those come from?
They come from. Do they come from an orange? Is it orange related?
No, what country they come from? 90% of them. It's controlled. If you could ever get. Well, it is, I think, a tree.
Yeah, it's like a tree or a bud. It's a bud.
Or like a bush.
It's a bush, I think. Actually, it's Szechuan peppercorns that come from an orange family. It's not cloves.
No.
Is it somewhere like Iran or Turkey or
Madagascar?
Something? Madagascar.
And Madagascar has such a tight hold on the plants.
Really?
They are not grown anywhere else. There's one in Florida, apparently. But there's like.
Well, it only takes one to spread it around.
I know, right? There's only like a handful here or there, and that was another thing that came up.
Because in the Middle East, they do all of the cigarettes and things with cloves in them. That's why I was thinking they might be from.
But they probably take them up the coast of Africa.
Yeah, they must buy them.
Yeah. So.
I like cloves. I know a lot of people can't stand them.
Yeah.
But I really like cloves.
Yep. Your mom's cooking a whole traditional meal on Thursday for 6 people. And one whiny bulldog. Oh no,
well, give her some turkey. She'll be fine. Some turkey and stuff. Oh no. Are you making cherries with our cherry pie with our cherries? Or those may be gone.
Yeah.
And I like the mincemeat. Yeah, I'd like to make some mincemeat.
Dad does all the yard work at your parents' house.
Usually involves chainsaws and burning things. Oh, no. I'm not sure how much it involves planting.
Yeah. So we were talking about that a bit. Because we were having some spice cider also while we were there. We had some roasted chestnuts, which we didn't get a fire on.
Yeah, we've got chestnuts I bought a couple of weeks ago. We have some really good chestnut trees and growers in the area. Pretty available. American, so they're a little smaller than some of the cultivated European ones. I find them just a touch lower quality than maybe some of the European ones I get, but they're pretty good. And they're really, compared to the imported ones, they're really cheap at the farmer's market. I mean, you get a big quart container for like $4 or something. So they're really good.
Yeah. So the other part
we need to grow a tree, but then they drop burrs. I mean, they come in the big burr.
Yeah. So and then we did go outside and do some work, and this is, well, you can hardly see him. Mike Hogue is kind of behind one of the people in my class, and he was teaching us how to prune our trees. And what to do, what not to do, and all of that. So this is actually at the Lillie House where a class is in their front yard, and that is, I believe they're plum tree. So they have a couple plum trees in there. So yeah, cloves are help. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of use for a lot of
cloves are very medicinal. They're very strong. They're great. They're in a lot of preservatives. Yeah. So all of your long preserved meat, a lot of the meat's African and different things because I think bugs and such don't like them, and maybe some of the other bacteria. So I think they have some antiseptic properties aside from a very strong flavor. So obviously we use them very sparingly.
Yeah.
But when they're used right, I really like the flavor. And traditionally, it can be done in meats, but then also in all the different sweet items.
So, and then the other thing we did inside, we did a couple things inside. We're talking about winter foraging. You guys know what you can get right now at this time of year. I didn't do a featured forage a cold featured forage item. I didn't do that, but all the things I could think of off the top of my head I've actually already covered for you guys, or a lot of them. You know, you could go out and dig dandelion roots and chicory roots at this time of year. In fact, Lillie House just posted on
you can do that.
Instagram the chicory roots, which they roast to make the tea or coffee from, um, which doesn't taste extremely like coffee, but you know. Then there's you could go out and still get your rose hips if you have some wild or cultivated rose bushes.
You got a bunch of rose hips.
Yep. You could go out and get your juniper berries, which we covered last time. You could go out, almost a lot of the roots you could get this time of year. So, you know, if you know where the plants are from the season, you can go out and find, you know, your Solomon seal, a variety of your roots. But you can also, even if there's snow on the ground, you can now start to find chickweed and bittercress, or any of the cresses will be growing under the snow. So if you know where it is, you can also harvest those all winter. So, yep. Okay.
People, yeah, because you have spiced ham.
Yeah.
So you could put it in your brine. You could have things like allspice yeah, and clove and things in the actual brine of the ham. So I do think that's why, or in the rubs and such, I think that's why it was in there originally. It does make a nice flavor with meat, but it is traditional to stud the ham with cloves as part of the, especially if you do a glazed ham, a sweet glaze, which is not my favorite way to do it at all. But if you're doing a glazed, you'll see it with the fruit on it, and you'll see the studded cloves. It is to spice it,
Yeah.
and very traditional. I think it. I mean, though, I think the seems like kind of like the English style, which it would have been imported, but I think it may have come from kind of the English continental preparation of hams.
Yeah.
But I don't know that for sure.
So suburban hillbilly, yes, you can do that if you have a new tree. The hard thing is if you already have established trees, you don't want to cut branches that are over about 2 inches in diameter, because those branches over 2 inches in diameter, or the central growth, if it's that big already, it has heartwood in it, and you're gonna slowly kill the tree off if you get an infection in the heartwood.
But you can try and bend them down and weight them or tie them to the
Well,
trunk.
if they're 2 inches, they're pretty darn big already.
But you can get 2 inches when you've got 6 or 8 feet.
Yeah.
You can get it bent down sometimes when it's too late to trim it and keep it low to the ground to be able to harvest.
And the other things we're talking about were like pruning over an inch from the joint or from the stem, because again, you're going to get a little bit of dieback, and you don't want that getting into your live branch, because that could get some infection into the live branch. You know, yeah, clearing out center pieces, crossing pieces, and things like that. There are a few varieties you can do different shapes. That are the ones like the back to Eden ones, which are completely very low sprawling. Some people like them to go up a little bit more and out. There's the ones that they're actually creating hedges with the fruit trees, where they basically train those branches to go straight out at different levels, and they have some of those at Lillie House. There is a French name for that I forget off.
Yeah, well, he has the hedgerow. Yeah, he heard him.
He has a video on it, which I did link his YouTube channel below as well. So if you want to check out the Lillie House's YouTube channel, it doesn't have many subscribers, but he has really educational videos.
They're very educational. They're sort of dry humor.
Yeah, he is very.
There's a weird dry humor that's sort of.
It is kind of cool. He's funny.
Yeah.
So he was making fun of that on, I think, Instagram at one point. He put parts of those videos on Instagram. Yeah. But you could basically turn it into like a living fence with your apple trees and such. So we were doing a little bit of the pruning and talking about that. We were talking about vermicompost.
Yes, espalier.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
You're all over the pruning. I mean, you're doing your head on the pruning and got it all put together.
Absolutely, suburban. Do you have some good pruning videos? That would be awesome. I haven't done too much search for.
I got stuff. Can you prune with this?
Probably not so much. Anybody know what that is?
Figured it out today.
Yes, I'm trying to see which way I'm going.
So it's got a handle. It's a hand twisted wrought iron, forged wrought iron, and it's got a heavy copper or maybe bronze, hand formed, sort of a anvil shape. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know if any of you know what that's for. I had some ideas. I was pretty close. I got figured out.
Yes. You don't do videos. You should do some. Only if you want to. There's a couple people. If anybody has any guesses, I'll keep going, but I'll come back to it if I see
It's a
guesses
nice
up there.
item, actually. It's. I don't know if it carries much value, but it's fairly well made.
Yeah, it is.
It's heavy.
Anyway, simple vermicompost. You don't need a fancy system. You could just use some sort of storage bucket with a lid, and you poke holes in the lid, and you put some bedding down, like some shredded paper would have originally been in here. You put some food in there. You put your worms in there.
Yep.
Fire poker is a guess on that.
You could use it. It's a little short, but you could poke at a fire. I don't think it would hurt it much.
No, it probably wouldn't.
Um,
It does deal with hot things.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely use it. You can use it with hot stuff.
Not a fire poker.
But that's.
That came from my dad's house, by the way, because he has this thing.
I don't know how he acquired it. He probably just got it at
Treasure
some
Mart.
sale. Yeah.
I bet you it was Treasure Mart.
He's like, oh, that looks nice. I'm sure he may not even know what it is. We
No, I
should
don't
have
think he
asked.
knows.
I don't think he knew. He didn't tell us.
No. Yeah, so he collects historic things, which can drive my mom crazy sometimes. But
Actually, has a little bend. I don't know if it cracked. It looks like it cracked.
Huh.
I was wondering if it was pressed in there, but I think it was wound around and it cracked over time.
Anyway,
it's a useful tool.
Marshmallow roaster. It's a little big for a marshmallow.
You could get it. You could like sear the marshmallow if it didn't stick. Yeah, it'd be hard. This is about. It's about 4.5, 5 inches tall, and it's about,
your mom said the same thing. Giant marshmallow roaster.
And it's about an inch diameter.
Look.
Oh, Linda Taylor's husband got it right. It is an old soldering iron.
Yep.
So this would have been for probably doing roofs or kettle handles or something, farm homestead related, fairly large. Because it's got the point here is about a 1/4 inch or a little more. So you could definitely get in a corner or a joint.
Yeah.
But this would not be for fine work. So this bronze or copper, it's probably not copper because that'd melt too easily. It's probably a bronze blend. Would have been stuck in a fire, get it very hot. It would amass a lot of heat in here, and you could take your tin or your copper flashing, and you could. It may have been for roof builder or something, yeah. And you could then take your lead for your leading or solder blend, and you can apply this with the heat. So they'd have to have a heat source.
Yeah.
So this would have been kind of arduous work, but it would have been pretty effective. So yeah, figured that one out. That was a good one. We didn't have any prizes on it today, but that's good.
We might have a different one in the next week or two where we'll give away a prize if someone can guess what it is.
We got one more item. We could.
Well, I don't have a prize.
No, but we got other items.
Although I could mail out those books.
We'll bring those to some event sometime when we get together.
Are you going to do this one, or are you going to save it for prize week?
No, we got other stuff over there. We'll use the glass thing for prize week.
Okay.
All right. So this is.
Who knows what this one is?
So this is round, and it's got a needle, but the needle doesn't detach. It does
twist.
It's got a little spring load on it, and you can twist it around, so it'll release a little bit, but it doesn't detach. And it says reversible steel spindle, and it's patented.
This is also in my dad's garage.
Yeah, this was in the same box. This is and it has the name Griswold, so I don't know if any of you know much about the Griswold company. They're out of business now.
Suburban wants a pasta giveaway.
Maybe for the next round.
Yeah, maybe we'll go back to pasta because we're coming up to holidays.
Coming up to holidays would be good. We could do that. And
people get sick of leftover turkey, so
that'd be really good. We'll do giveaway next week after Thanksgiving weekend when you're all sick of pasta. All sick of turkey. We'll do our giveaway.
Do we have 2 more Saturdays in the month or just the one?
I don't know.
Look at
we'll probably do our fall blend if I still have that, and then maybe something else. Because the next Saturday is the 1st of December.
And yeah.
The 24th is next week.
So I guess that means we are doing our giveaway next Saturday because we're not prepared.
Cast iron. Yeah, Griswold was a cast iron company.
Yep.
They were pretty well. I think some of them were out of New York. It's a generically, it's a branded name that's used generically still
A lot
somewhat
of
today
times.
with old timers, kind of like Kleenex. Um, it was so synonymous with products
Yeah.
that people just called their main product Griswold's, but this is not their main product. But it's a cast iron. It's got 4 patents on it.
It's 6 inches
It's
diameter.
a 6-inch one. I'm sure they have them in a
A few different
few
sizes,
different
probably.
sizes. This would be a pretty nice big hairpin, I guess.
Suburban, yeah, turkey noodle soup. Hey, why not?
Linda Taylor, I'm disappointed in your husband. He should know what this is. If he knows what the soldering iron is. At first, see, I thought it was for something for branding at first. And you're effectively, but I'm like, you're not branding because it isn't
On that other one.
because it isn't stable. It actually is supposed to move around a little bit so
Yeah.
you can get into angles and joints. So this is not for branding either.
There it goes. And it locks into place.
Show them again. So it's round. It's about 6 inches. It has a pin in it that can be adjusted but not removed.
So if you push it and twist, and then this can turn.
It's made by the Griswold Company, and it says it's a 6-inch. They're in Erie, Pennsylvania. I think they're in New York, but and it's a reversible steel spindle.
So. A steel spindle. Yeah, reversible steel spindle, 6-inch. And a few patent numbers.
Yep.
Yeah, it just says Griswold, Erie, Pennsylvania, USA.
So Griswold, I'll tell you the story about that. I learned about that in culinary school. So Griswold is another name for a cast iron pan. Now, I was told in classes that typically a Griswold is a 14-inch cast iron pan, which is really big because most time you're cooking on a 10.
Heavy.
Oh yeah, it's big. Maybe a 10 or a 12. So a 14-inch might have 3-inch sidewalls. That would be like for you could do country fried chicken. You could do, like in Memphis they do hamburgers fried in grease. They're like deep fried hamburgers. That's what a 14-inch or bigger, or just a large restaurant style. So a lot of people refer to, because the Griswold Company made cast iron, any type of like cast iron pans as a Griswold.
I wonder if she's looking it up.
Yeah.
Sabine, hello.
Tattoo gun. Yeah, it's a little rusty. You get hot enough, you might be able to get a prison tattoo with that.
Oh, that would no.
A rabbit hair bunch.
It is. It's not horribly sharp at the end.
No, it's a little sharp. It's sharper than it probably needs to be, but.
Rabbit
So I actually had a pretty good idea. I was pretty much on.
You were on.
I was on this right away.
You had 2 ideas, but the one was on.
And I think kind of, and this little handle kind of helped me out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it helps anybody out, but it's just got a spring style handle, and it spins around.
So you push it in and turn it, and then it's loose. You push in and turn it back, and it locks. So if you think about this would flip.
So I know somebody who could use this effectively. It would be Off Grid with Doug and Stacy.
They might have one of these.
They might have one, and I think they would know how to use it.
Yes.
And most families 75 to 100 years ago would have definitely known what to do with it, how to use it.
Just in this day and age,
they would have no problem.
Not many people.
And there are a lot of people. My grandfather, both my grandfathers, I think, would have happened to have used them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Most of your grandparents or people that would be in their
90s to
80s, 90s, on that range, I'm sure. Goes on a wood. Yeah.
Yep. It goes on a wood stove.
It's a damper. It's a damper for your cook stove or your wood stove. So potbelly, so you can use that as a flue damper, which could either shield the air coming in to increase the air or decrease, and that's why it's adjustable, or to close it down possibly when you're not using it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's some type of jig. It's definitely a jig. Yes, it's a piece of the flue.
Yeah. Anyway, that handle is like the one on my grandmother's cast iron. Can't remember.
Yeah, it's exactly. If you had a potbelly or you had a cast iron stove at home, it would have been a crucial part in controlling your heat and your fuel burn.
Should we show another goodie we found in my dad's garage? This isn't a guessing one, but the sign.
Oh.
That one's a nice. It's a
This
nice,
one's I don't know how old it is. It is.
really good shape.
It's
And it's
in
thick.
really good shape, and it's like it was kept indoors. It's barely I don't know if it's very old, if it's a replica, or if it's almost in too good a shape to be particularly old. And looking at these rivets are not very large.
Yeah.
I think it's a well-made replica.
Maybe a replica, but it's in really good shape.
Yeah.
And it's heavy. It's it's thick.
It's made the proper, but I don't know. Yeah.
Old Dutch cleanser. Yeah, so we'd have to figure out. Someone may have put the rivets in the corner center.
No, it would have had rivets because that's how you.
But it looks like there's a bigger rivet that was there potentially. There's a
I think it's from
ring around these.
Yeah, because you would probably crack the. Well, I'm not sure if this.
Or just rubbed.
Yeah, so I don't think this isn't ceramic.
Okay.
It is. It's not glazed, but it's a high quality outdoor durable
Sign.
Screen print. So I would say it's a little newer. The back is. It's actually rough. So this is a replica, but it's very, very well made and rugged.
Yeah.
And it's not super new, but it would have had heavier rivets in it, and the edges are too nice.
Your mom's making jokes. So you can use it for a flu shot. The
phone is like 45 seconds faster than the PC. Yeah, we tend to get anywhere from a 15-second to almost a 45-second lag.
I noticed that.
Getting the feedback to us, because sometimes we kind of in our head we kind of count off how many seconds between between video shots.
At the beginning, when I have the slideshow that goes, I can always tell how far off because I'll see it on my program that records.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is totally. It's a very well made reproduction, but that it doesn't. What I think is so funny about this is the forearm and fist on this Dutch lady is clearly a heavy man's fist, unless she was one heck of a farmhouse worker.
Hey, the Dutch were farmers.
Well, there's some we've got some pretty sturdy built Dutch heritage running around this part of the state for sure. Still have a lot of Dutch farmers, and they are known. I mean, traditionally known to be very good, tough, hardy farmers. So.
Yeah, it is a total reproduction. I don't know how old of a reproduction though.
It's probably a few years old, but it's.
Anyway,
people aren't even making reproductions that good anymore.
No, usually they're fairly cheap. No, and that's really pretty heavy.
That's not aluminum. That's on a steel.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I went through all that. Oh, we had a question. We'll open up things to ask the chef for the last 10-15 minutes that we're on, and we'll probably go a half hour. Who knows?
My grandfather, grandpa was born in about 1910, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't.
No, later, because he would have been 100. Like he would have been 100 this year. So
1918. There you go.
Yeah, 1918.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been 100 this year.
Yeah, because he was a couple years younger than my grandparents. Yep. Oh, here comes the Helix cat. Okay, so we do want to open up to ask.
I got a cattail.
Cattails. You can eat cattails.
Can I? I don't want to eat this one.
I don't want to eat this one. This one's too bony. But
furry and bony.
But you can.
I like cowtails.
I haven't done that as a foraged food feature, but you can eat cattails. But we don't have any water on property.
We don't have any. There's no way we're gonna grow cattails here. We'd have to go a couple blocks away.
We'd have to go dig ourselves a little pond to be able to grow cattails here. But that would be another calorie crop. You could
1918. Yeah, we got that.
Yep. Because I think my grandfather was born in like 1916, and my grandma
was 2 or 3 years
or
old.
1917, and my grandmother was 1915.
Yeah,
I believe. I could be a year off on theirs.
They all lived to be in their mid 90s.
Yeah, they did.
Or mid to late 90s. All three of them.
All three of them. Strong people. But anyway, so ask the chef if you guys have any questions. Now, Tina did post a question on that was more for preparation. His award-winning chili recipe is unfortunately not one he can share because it's not completely his. It's between you and another chef.
I won the local downtown chili cook-off. I guess it was a year and a half ago. Winter. So this winter will be 2 years. Entered it once. I won the chili cook-off and I won the salsa cook-off.
Yeah.
in the same year. It's the same downtown association. For a restaurant to produce neither one of the items, nor sold either one of the items, which was kind of funny. But I just put a little extra work and thought into it, basically,
Yeah.
and I knew if I twisted it and get a little extra work, and I had a pretty good shot at least coming in as a contender. So
Oh, cool. Tina scored some blueberry
that's pretty
bushes.
good. That's
$1
cheap for
each.
blueberry. That's
Wow.
really good. I would get as many as you can for $1 each.
We got some free blueberry bushes, but only one survived.
Yeah,
That was
wild.
wild.
We got some wild ones.
we transplanted some wild ones, and
We
one
have some
survived.
wild ones in back that we need to pull forward.
Yeah, we could do that.
Because they're too shaded.
Yeah, they're not going to produce fruit back there. Did you know you could spray cattails with hairspray and they won't open?
Well, yeah, I know there's a lot of the wildflowers. If you catch them before they're too loose, you can spray them, especially with the old style Aquanet and really hard hairsprays, and it will fix them for arrangements to hold them. Yeah, that's a really good technique before the petals fall. As they've started to dry, but while they're in shape or pressed, they're perfect.
The aerosol can spray.
You can shellac them, but it's a couple of...
We would do that to our charcoal drawings in art class, too. We'd spray them with basically
hairspray or shellac. Only problem is we get so darn humid here that you have a possibility in the middle of the summer with the incredible humidity that you can get them to fall apart. But generally, it's set up so hard at that point that it's good.
If you spray them down good, you're probably good.
So chili,
you can eat them.
I don't know if they even make Aquanet anymore, but that's the best because it was so overly powerful that
it was so aerosoled.
Yeah, the old formulas.
Anyway, so Ask the Chef. Tina was asking about
chili. So this is my theory. So I did win the chili cook-off as in the professional. I got the People's Choice and the best chili that 2 years ago. I worked with a recipe that a chef. We were doing a house recipe for the country club I was working at. He came with a recipe from a chef instructor that we both had, who was notable. It's called Big Jim's Hog Breath Chili. You might find that on the internet or around.
Yeah.
It's published in the CIA cookbook.
That's the Culinary Institute of America.
Yeah. And so Big Jim was a notable American chef, and he really loved chili before chili was such a big deal. And so we're probably going back 20 plus years. He started doing all these chili recipes. From that, the chef I worked with adopted the recipe with help from another chef, and then one more later, and myself, and we continued to create it and recreate it to what we used for a house recipe and upscaled it a lot for a country club. I then twisted it a little bit and did a few tweaks for what ended up being the winning recipe. And so good things to think about are chili is really a braised stew. So it's no different than making beef stew other than the spices. So if you start with the same type of good quality beef, and real Texas chili doesn't have beans in it. It definitely doesn't have macaroni, Mom. No macaroni. Midwest likes to put macaroni in. It tastes good in there, by the way. If you want to extend it or take the heat down or just make a full meal, actually macaroni works great in there. But should not have beans and shouldn't have anything other than your spices and chilies, and then maybe your meat item.
We just had chili for dinner
chili con carne. Yeah, we had a white chili. It wasn't. It was a pork and green chili.
Which, by the way, we do have a video.
There's a video on that.
You could use that.
You can use if you want to do either smoked. If you want to do turkey or pork or smoked turkey or smoked pork, tomatillos and such. We have a full recipe on that, and it eats really good.
Yes.
We do put a few beans in that.
And we put it over cornbread tonight. I'll find it. You can keep talking about the chilies.
So this was my thought process when I made the winning chili. It's a beef stew. Most people use ground meat. That's fine, but I wanted to win a chili contest. So the extra mile is real cowboy chili is chunks of meat, not ground beef or ground pork or whatever you're using. So we hand diced up, not big chunks, but like little finger chunks, little centimeter cubes or such. They will shrink down, so they can be a little bigger than your final expectation. But we used a combination of short rib and brisket. Well, for brisket, a full brisket has all that fat, and you need to pull it off, and you lose a lot. If you get chuck roll, or neck roll, which is basically coming off the shoulder. The chuck up through here is really fatty and marbled and nice, and that's your perfect blend for cubing up and making cowboy style chili. So that's how we started. And I think that really was the key to winning. Was everybody else had ground, they had cherry chili, they had some disgusting stuff, they had so much heat you couldn't eat it. So we braised for about 3 hours, 4 hours till it got tender. Our diced up chuck neck roll or short rib and brisket. Um, they're medium priced in the whole meat category, and they're very full of flavor. That's how you make a really good burger, short rib brisket.
Macaroni and chili was a Depression era.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it was, and it tastes fine.
Yeah.
Don't do it in Texas. You'll be in trouble, right? Is Carrie still here?
Was she in here today?
I don't know.
I don't think she was in here today.
I have to ask Carrie if they put any pasta in there. So I do like beans, and I think beans are really good in there, but don't call it a cowboy or a Texas chili if you put beans in. It's fine to put them. I like to soak dry beans. Kidneys actually have really good flavor, kidney beans, but you can use all different types of harder beans. I like to soak them, boil them out separate, and use the fresh beans when I did that just for the extra mile. But canned beans are perfectly fine if you want to save time. They come out great. Cannellini beans and some of the white beans are nice, especially in a white chili. But kidney beans, black beans, whatever. Then using a Mac, it should open. It's not Mac dependent.
If you search through our page on videos, it was put together last winter, probably January or something. That video. Otherwise, copy and paste. Let me try opening it here and just make sure the link worked, because I might have to adjust the link. No, it took it to the right place. It's the Winter Farmstead Cooking Challenge from last year, Colorado chili. So if you want to check that out,
pull that up through the website if you want. So the next step, so you have your meat. You're going to have a generous amount of onions and some garlic and such, I think is important. And so you're going to make it just like beef stew. I like a spice blend. I've done all kinds of ground chilies where we toast them a little bit and grind them. But I like a blend of chili powders, of course, cumin. I like to put a touch of coriander in. I like guajillos, pasellas, anchos, because some of those chilies, those are peppers, and you can buy them in ground or fresh. You don't have to go to that extreme. But I like them because they have very earthy and raisiny and sweet and different flavors. So you do a blend of those. Using granulated onion and granulated garlic is a nice way. They taste a little different than the fresh and the fresh products. I like to use 2 parts granulated onion to 1 part granulated garlic. You actually need more onion than garlic in there to make it balanced. Some people put in coffee. Some people put in chocolate or cocoa powder to create some depth. What you have to be careful with all the dry spices, it's actually quite a bit. I can have like a cup of dry spices that once I sear out all the meat. So
you should have looked Google braised.
Oh, braised, so cooking in liquid. So basically you're going to sear your meat in oil, brown it on as many sides as reasonable in a hot pan, in a smoking hot pan.
Anchovies.
Yeah, anchos are red or ripe poblanos, and they are amazing flavor. We got like 3 of them this year, and that was all we got, and they were really good.
The rest of them we got
green. They just didn't develop.
Dark.
Yeah, they didn't develop. So yeah, you want to sear it because you get a lot of your flavor in searing. As soon as you sear it all, you can take it out of the pan and do it in bunches if you have too much. Then you get your onions. Your onions take up all that fun.
Is the puppy sleeping?
I think she's
woofing. She's woofing in her sleep.
I like to take that fond or all the drippings from the pan, as long as they're not burned, and get them in the onions and garlic. The faster you get steamed onions into your meat product, onions replicate meaty flavors and savory flavors if you can capture that. That's why we use so many onions and cooking them down. So I do that, and then after I get the meat and the onions and some garlic, I coat it in the dry products, almost like I'm making a curry. I want to get and I add extra oil. If it's dry, I add extra oil because I want the flavor of the meat and the onions and all those dry products to actually infuse the oil. So frying out spices develops the spices, and then you're going to put your liquid over all of that, and some of the flavors will start going into the liquid. For the liquid, obviously you can use a beef stock or a veal stock or something if you want to spend the time and money or have it laying around. Bouillon cubes or base works fine. I like to use other flavorful liquids. So just like a really nice bourguignon, red wine is actually amazing. A little, some red wine is amazing in chili. Beer works really well. For my award-winning one, I use both red wine and beer. So I tend to reduce them down before I put the rest of the liquid in. I'll put in, like, say, the red wine, and I'll bring it down almost dry with all the meat and onions and such. And then, because that concentrates it.
Yeah.
And then I added some beer. Beer, watch out, not too hoppy. Just beer is good. Ales, brown ales.
The cheaper beers.
Stuff that isn't really bitter.
Yeah.
Bitter, it doesn't make for good cooking. So I used both a nice ale and I think I used a porter that I was given by the bartender, and then I used some red wine. Those are optional, but those are nice ways. So we're developing layers of flavor. That's we're good quality meat, good flavor on that, and browning on that, good flavor on your onions and garlic, good flavor on your spice blends, flavorful liquids. Then I put stock. I used a combination, I think, of chicken stock and some beef base on that, and then you let it simmer for however long. And then I like to do things like my peppers and chunks of stuff. So I'll dice up, if I'm going to dice up green peppers or red peppers or tomatoes or whatever else, I like to put that in because I don't want to cook that for 3 hours. It's too long. I'll put it in like an hour before I think it's going to be near done. I'll cook the beans out separate so they're most of the way done. I don't want them to get overcooked or undercooked. And about an hour out, I'll saute off the onion, the fresh product, the fresh peppers. I'll pour those in. I'll put the beans in. I'll put in tomatoes. If it needs some puree of tomato or chopped up pureed tomatoes, they can go in at any point after you put in the liquid. And you basically just let it cook down until it gets thick. Then I have my fresh peppers and all that start to cook out. And as I'm getting near the end, or if I'm going to go reheat it, that's when I start putting in all of my scallions or chives and scallions cut up real small. I put in my fresh cilantro at the very end.
He's talking about making chili.
Yeah, if you want to put corn in there, you can. So I put that in it when I pick it up, and then when I I may adjust. I like to keep some of that spice.
What do you mean by pick it up?
When I get ready to serve it.
Okay.
So I will check, and I may sprinkle a little more of that spice blend in that I used at the beginning. I'll sprinkle a little more, and obviously salt and pepper needs to be adjusted near the end. Never put very much salt or any salt in at the beginning because you don't know as it reduces down in volume
how strong it's going to be.
How strong it's going to be. You can take off excess fat as needed. You can cook the whole thing in bacon fat or add some bacon in there at the beginning if you want to. If you want to get pork in there, that's great. So you make it just like making a really good high quality stew, and then you finish it off, and then you can add in your cheese and your garnishes and all those toppings to the side. So that's effectively what I did, and that's how I won the Kalamazoo chili cook-off. I would say Kalamazoo's a real challenging chili market.
I wonder if that's what you could do. If you could do like small cooking demos at. Oh, we'd have to ask Amy if she'd be, if she would want someone to do like small group cooking demo.
That'd be interesting.
Like
they did some cooking demos this year at Homesteaders with
Homesteaders of America is what I'm talking about. But they did it, but they did it in big groups. Like if you had like a stand where you're doing it and be just smaller groups and you keep doing like you repeat or you do a few different demos through the day. Then you can have smaller groups show up. I don't know.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Have to talk to Amy
about
it.
That's a kind of a complex. Chili can be a very personal, very complex. I have a whole book on Texas chilies. There's all these regional chilies. It's not that hard to make a pretty good one. And it's not even that hard to make a really tasty one.
Is it within
The key is to take, maybe over there, take your time and let it simmer. And don't worry about those tougher, cheaper cuts of meat. They're actually great. They have tremendous flavor. Just cut them up and small to medium size and let them go slow. And then what I do is, so it's a big effort, like a lot of things. So you make a lot.
Yeah.
That thing, I made a kettle full. I made about 30 gallons. We had about.
You sold out of that.
We sold out every bit of it. We did about 1,300 little tastings. I had $500 or $700 worth of beef. I was donated some of it as a specialty trial case. Then
Mhm.
they sent me twice as much of the one that I ordered. They're like, well, and my rep was like, you're gonna have to pay for it because like $400 extra. It's a small restaurant. I'm like, and I looked, and when I do my orders, I send them in by email a lot of times. I learned this one, so I send them in by email because there's always these phone calls and prices change, and the reps don't always think about it and realize it. But I had this email. What's the spec? How much is in a case? And a case ended up being 80 pounds, and he said it was 40.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how big's a case? He said it's about 40 pounds. I said, okay, I'll take two, or whatever it
Or whatever
was.
you needed.
And I got two, and they were two of like
80 pounds.
80 pounds. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So it was an extra $400.
You had it in writing though.
And he didn't want to touch it. And we actually talked to his territory manager, who we were friends with. Territory's manager's like, write it off.
Yep.
He's like, it's very clear that you were expecting about 40, plus or minus 40 pounds.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to do other stuff with it. So I felt bad for him, but I couldn't eat. That place was too small to eat the cost on $400.
Yeah.
So that was an expensive.
Where are we at, Tina? We are in Michigan, so we are not southern.
No, I lived a little bit in the South, but I lived in Memphis and I lived in Atlanta, and I cooked in both cities a little bit.
Yeah.
I picked up pretty good rib techniques and skills in Memphis, although I didn't work in a barbecue place. I ate around enough. I do a pretty good job on ribs, and I don't think I preferred pulled pork actually over ribs, but I do a dry rub. So
yeah.
Pressure cook, yeah, and pressure cooking's fine. What you can do with that is go through your process of searing in a pan first to develop more flavor, and sauteing your onions. Put everything in there. Do your pressure cook. It'll take that 3, 4, 5 hour simmer time down to an hour, 45 minutes an hour. Then when it's tender, go back and finish out with, say, your onions and peppers, your fresh stuff, and adjust it. So use that to cut out that 3 or 4 hour simmering time.
Or as Tina was asking,
it works great
about doing things in crock pots.
Crock-pot, same deal.
You do the same thing.
You don't have to sear, because when you do a 3, 4 hour cook, you get the same reactions, similar reactions happening as when you crust and sear.
Did I ever say hi to Lois Ann? Hi, if I missed you.
But it's not exactly slow Maillard versus fast Maillard, high heat Maillard. I like to still sear because that fond has all that time.
So what is that Maillard reaction?
Maillard reaction is a high heat browning reaction. It's the equivalent of caramelizing sugar, but involves primarily protein and a little bit of sugar. And so it's a chemical breakdown of the amino acids, which gives you that meaty, roasted, grilly, or pot roast flavors.
And
which
for those
is so
of you
important.
who don't have as much biology background, amino acids are the building blocks of every protein. So if you're breaking them down, that's what you're talking about with that.
Yeah, so you're getting this amazing flavor release. So the two areas where home cooks struggle is not cooking hot enough, having hot pans, starting with hot pans so things don't stick, and leaving there long enough to crust down without burning, but getting nice and dark golden brown, because your flavor comes off of that, and then not seasoning properly, not using enough salt and pepper to properly flavor things. So Atlanta, we were in Alpharetta, so north of Atlanta. My parents were there for about 15 years, and I was in and out a little bit during college for a number of summers, and I cooked for a restaurant in Buckhead for about 5-6 months.
During culinary school.
In culinary school, I did my internship in Atlanta and cooked for some really nice places. So I was just kind of in and out. I was never permanent. Yep.
So, Tina, you just ran away from Marietta.
Marietta's pretty good. There's a lot of traffic and a lot going on, and even 20 years ago there was a lot going on. Yeah. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that was it. Anybody else have a food question, cooking question for Mike before we? Actually, I do have one other announcement. What restaurant were you at then?
I worked for Blue Point, which is part of the Buckhead Life Group. They owned a dozen or so fine dining. Buckhead Diner was their flagship, and Pano and Paul's. Actually, Pano and Paul's was first, and then Buckhead. So they're pretty large group, but they had a Asian fusion. So this was around 2000. No, they're closed. Around 2001, and it was true Asian fusion. So French techniques using Asian, mostly Thai and Japanese, not Chinese, styled items with French technique, and then we were one of the top 5 restaurants in town at that point.
Nice.
Lots of oysters. We did tremendous number of oysters and sushi
Yeah.
and crab. Lots and lots of seafood. Probably half of our orders were fine dining seafood and fresh curries. So it was Atlanta had never really seen a restaurant like that at that point. It was a very new because the chef had come out of New York. So it was more of what you would see in a New York setting, bringing it to Atlanta. So they ran for about 10 years. It was an $8 million restaurant.
Oh.
I think they made a lot of money, but eventually restaurants usually last about 10 years and
Fizzle need a change.
they either get lazy or people
Update.
change. They just get bored and you need to change them. So,
Yeah.
but it was right downtown Buckhead and across from the Ritz-Carlton.
Unless it's a really family run.
There are times if you have the right restaurant, you can go and go and go as long as you don't get lazy.
Yeah.
But typically 10 years is considered a good run.
Yeah,
they have a good reputation. I mean, they hire good chefs. And I haven't done anything. I haven't been down there in years, but they're nice. So.
Yeah. There's one other thing. Actually, let me refresh something here and just double check, make sure there's no other questions. No other questions unless it pops up in the chat. But I did want to, let's see if I can find it, mention one other things we started was a Teespring account. So if you guys ever want part-time Permies goods like t-shirts or sweatshirts or mugs or cell phone covers, I guess even.
Because everybody needs a part-time Permy cell phone cover.
We might want it, but I don't know about that. It might get you a West Michigan Pasta and Provisions self. I could do West Michigan Pasta and Provisions clothing on there too and make those. That way we can order our own, and if anyone else wants it, or anyone who works for us, we can keep ordering. But it's kind of a fun little account. I might actually design other t-shirts eventually. Not necessarily our logo, but some other things. I'll link that in here as well. So if you're looking for
Teresa Wheeler is here.
Hi, Teresa. But
sorry, you lost out on the prize-winning chili recipe.
He was talking Tina through it and everybody else. But this,
wow, that's a good deal on a turkey fryer, $49. I mean, they're fairly
30.
simple, but that's always check the thickness of the pan. They don't melt down on you. Some of them are so thin that I'm always wonder if the bottom isn't going to melt down on them.
Oh boy!
As long as you got oil in them, they won't.
No,
or water. Good. They're good for crab boils and lobster and New England boils too. Put water in, not oil, obviously.
Yeah. But that Teespring account, I did put together a few t-shirts, sweatshirts. I think there's even some leggings, and they don't have hats. That was the one place I was looking for, hoping they'd have hats, but they don't have those. But and they have kid sizes. So if anybody wants any of those, some people have already gotten t-shirts from the last from our bonfire account, but that has to be all done at once and all shipped out in one order. So you have to set it up as like a, I guess they call it
a bonfire.
Like a bonfire, like whereas this they will take anybody who orders at any point and will ship it within 3 days. They'll ship out all the orders from those 3 days at the same time, so you don't have to set up different timings to do like a big sale on them. So if you're ever interested, that's there. I did put it on our Facebook page. I believe I linked it in the description below, but I'll double check that too later. So that is the Teespring page. And then I'll play around and see if we could get some other ideas.
So for turkey fryers, key is don't overfill them, because once you take the expansion space of the bubble over and the turkey, they're usually filled only like a third full or so.
Yeah.
So most important thing, don't overfill your
you don't want hot oil going to
your
everywhere.
pot. Watch the thermometer, and don't do it in your garage, because never mind the fumes. When it catches on fire, your whole garage catches on fire. I don't know if you've seen that video. We were watching it with a bunch of chefs. We're like, oh, stupid, stupid, stupid. And then you watch the oil spill across the garage, and you're like, oh, they're going to burn down the whole house.
That's not good.
Do it outside.
Yes.
Otherwise, they actually make fried turkeys. Actually, are a pretty good method. I don't do it that way, but they actually work quite well, and they are very useful. Yes, scalding your birds for plucking birds. I have a candy stove, which is basically the same style tripod, big burner.
Are you going to do another pasta sale anytime soon for the holidays?
We were thinking about
for next
doing
weekend?
free shipping on 4 bags or more. Um,
Give us time to
on our
set it up.
main site starting after Thanksgiving. We
Yeah.
may get it set up earlier this week. Um,
So Tina, give me
I think the math works on that. I just need to look at it so I don't give away pasta. Pay you to buy pasta.
yeah, no, that would
But
be.
we were thinking about doing free shipping on 4 bag. So shipping's about $10 on the
I think it's
website.
about
We charge
$10.
$10. That's roughly what it costs us to ship.
Yeah.
We If you're a little closer, it might be a little less. You're a little farther. It balances out for us, so we just bill it at $10. So 4 bags, which is $24 in general if you get the normal.
Yeah.
They're 7 and 8, right? Or they're
They are 7 and 8.
yeah. So they're
Oh my gosh, I haven't looked at the
yeah, they're
webpage in a
7 and 8.
Yeah.
So
The pricing scheme.
yes,
Yeah, they are.
depending on egg or no egg. So most of them are $7. So you knock off about $10 on with shipping, and I can't do anything about the shipping expense. I wish I could bring them to you, but
Yeah.
obviously we need somebody to ship them. So yeah,
Good
so
night,
that's
Lotion.
what we're planning. We have a really nice gift basket, by the way. It's going on the website. It has 5 pastas in it. They're preset right now, but we can change them on request. Comes with 5 pastas right now, 2 long, 3 short. It comes with a bottle of the Alavente premium olive oil from Lebanon that we work with the importers. It has a bottle of a jar of Rayo's marinara sauce, artichoke spread, and a nice bottle of a balsamic for dressing
Great
greens.
gift basket for a
And
really
it
good
comes with a
friend.
pretty nice basket. So that's on our website for
It will be on our
$125.
website for $125.
Yeah, that also is included with free shipping. And if you text us and you're really interested in it, we can probably do it for about $115. So
Yeah, but that's
maybe 110. I gotta look at it again.
the pricing scheme.
I can't give it away.
No.
But we can at least get it free shipping. I think we can get it for $115 with free shipping, as a best
like
to
discounted.
you guys only type deal. But it's a really nice basket for somebody that you really like, because I know it's
expensive.
it's a nice one. So
Yeah.
we've got a limited number of those, but we have enough. We can so we got Rayo's marinara. We're playing around. We kind of want to do all local, but there's no local balsamic, so there's no local artichokes. But we wanted to have it where you could kind of complete somewhat of a meal. I can't ship cheese in it because of the refrigeration.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let's just do Rayo's because it's got
good.
such a kind of a popular name and history on it, and people know it. And I have access to a reasonably priced Rayo's. So we're like, let's just do Rayo's.
Yeah.
So that's what the deal is. There'll be a picture up.
Probably in the.
I think it's on it's on my work Instagram.
It's on the West Michigan Pasta and Provisions Instagram page, but I will get it on the web page. If you guys, I don't have that linked. I should probably automatically link that web page into our description. It might be in our description actually.
Yeah, so that's out there. So those are kind of what we're looking at. If there's any questions or requests on something, let us know. We do try and give preferential, some discounts to you guys as much as we can on anything. Larger, the trick is that larger orders, the shipping starts getting less of a component. So if you're buying like 15 or 20 bags, we can definitely give you a better price because the efficiency of shipping is in your favor and it's in everybody's favor, and then we can shave on that, but not everybody wants like 15 bags of pasta.
Rayo's is low carb. The pasta's not low carb, but it is high protein.
Tomato sauce isn't real low carb.
Well, the Rayo's, you say.
Oh, do they have a low carb one? I mean, tomatoes in themselves
they have a decent
carb driven because they're sweet, sweet and sour, but they're good quality. They're good. Yeah. Even though they have carbs, it's good food, good carbs.
We do have the West Michigan Pasta and Provisions web page listed below. It doesn't seem to be linking very well, so you probably have to copy and paste it. I don't know why it's not hot linking on there. It's the first time I noticed that. But if you're interested in checking out the website, I will be updating that website through this week. Probably as the week goes, maybe on Wednesday, I'll get a chance to work on it a bit. And then by this weekend, we should have some of those sales set to go. So yeah, if you look at it, I mean, it's Small Business Saturday on Saturday,
Which
so
is actually why
perfect
we're
time.
running the free shipping across the board to
Yeah.
everybody
And then
as
Cyber Monday
part of our post Thanksgiving small business offering. So we'll run that.
through Cyber Monday or
Well,
further.
we'll run that for a while. We'll run that probably about halfway into December.
Yeah.
You know,
So
we'll run it a week, probably 2 weeks
couple
into
weeks.
September, and
September.
then by the time, I mean December, by the time we get into the crunch and mailing and shipping, so shipping prices start going up.
Yeah.
Also, as you get down there, it gets crazy. We can't really shave off stuff because everything starts costing us more too.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think.
I
Good
can't
night,
get
Suburban.
Diablo. The Diablo, yeah, the Diablo.
North Carolina.
Yeah,
Husband bringing it from Atlanta this weekend. Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
yeah, that's the spicy,
Yeah.
the spicy tomato sauce. You can always add. I mean, it doesn't. You can add.
Is that a brand name in Atlanta, or because we're in Michigan, or
Or is that the
Diablo in general means
It's the
spicy?
spicy style, usually with pepper flake and such, which I like. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Tina, I will post a link on our Facebook page when we get the sale going.
Hopefully tomorrow. I mean, hopefully really soon.
Yeah.
But also, you can always text or email us, and we
can always quote you
can
prices.
quote you and get it adjusted before it processes or do whatever we need to do to get it set up. It
Yeah.
ends up going through my Square account, so I have the ability at the worst
You have the ability to process.
to process. I can either process it separate.
Or give you a refund on part of
Yeah,
it.
or I can give you a refund if I have to. I can push it back. So that's yep.
Yeah, we can always adjust it.
Mac and cheese, yeah, it's cheese and pasta. Whatever, any old cardboard pasta, any old cheese food, throw it together. I can tell you nightmares of all the way I've seen macaroni and cheese made in restaurants. How terrible it is.
Okay, come up with a really good mac and cheese recipe for next week.
Well, in Italy they don't have macaroni and cheese. They have quattro formaggi.
Four cheeses.
And they have cacio e pepe, and they don't do what we do for macaroni and cheese. I like American macaroni and cheese. Actually, my mother, she might still be here, she could probably give you the recipe. Her style is about as good as anybody's. You can change the cheese up, but the way she makes it is better than 90% of the ones you're finding running around.
Well, maybe we'll have to do a video on your mom's mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Pasta is good. I mean, changing up, you can get away with pretty bad pasta and still make okay macaroni and cheese. But when you use good pasta,
it's really good.
It honestly, it does change it and make a better macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Rayo's not the road. Yeah, okay, Rayo's Diablo, so it's their spicy version. Yeah. You can always dress it up with, and by the way, I'll tell you, Italian pepper flakes, the ones that are American or imported, are good. And they can be a little spicy or they can be really hot. I bought some from Costco recently. They're really pretty spicy. Now, the fresher they are, somewhat the variety, but the new season, the new crop, because spices can sit on a shelf for a year or two. Mm-hmm. So they'll lose heat. They'll also lose color. So you can tell how red they are sometimes. If you can find Sicilian or Italian chili flakes, they taste different. There is, I don't know how to describe it, but there is this earthiness and this richness behind the heat. I can tell you right away when I taste it that it's Italian.
There's imported. Your mom's recipe.
Yeah, Velveeta in a basic, really thin roux, and Velveeta is the biggest secret out there. You can put nice cheeses over the top and melt them in, but the creaminess and smoothness of Velveeta is the best way. Now, I did have people that use the tubs of the Wisp Pride. That's kind of gross because it's gritty. But whatever you do, start with a good blend of lots of Velveeta, and then if you want to add a sharp cheddar to it or a smoked cheese or a blue cheese or whatever, that's fine. But Velveeta has two purposes. Three. Makes a good cheese dip if you add stuff to it. It makes an excellent macaroni and cheese. It makes a really good gooey grilled cheese, and other than that, it's junk. But because of the blending of the cheeses and smoothness for creamy things, it actually does a phenomenal job.
Your mom says sometimes add horseradish.
Horseradish is nice. Yeah.
Pepper, onions, hams, etc.
Ham's good. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So it's actually we could talk about it in detail, but Velveeta is the biggest secret.
It's a good.
And I don't buy. I buy it only when I'm making macaroni and cheese, and I don't keep it around for anything else. No, but it's really good. Anyway. Yeah, and it's a low fat. It's a little high in salt. It's a low fat cheese blend. So if you're looking for lower fat,
Yeah. Let's get a Mike's mom mac and cheese video, Bree says. Yep. She just gave it to you
it's
right
good.
there.
I mean, I really can't. When I do it in restaurants, we've done heavy cream with with Americans. If you really got to do it fast, like on the fly for kids meals in a restaurant, I've seen all the cheese food and all the junk. You take heavy cream, you bring it to a simmer, and you throw about 4 or 5 slices of American cheese singles in there, and and you let it just quickly come to a boil, and then you toss the pasta in it, and that's the next closest thing, because American singles, not like the good expensive craft ones, but like the food service ones, they're actually basically like Velveeta. So, and when you put it in the heavy cream, milk, you can do it in milk, but milk's a little too soft, a little too, you need the extra fat. And so we'll talk about next week
Yeah.
why it breaks, why it gets greasy or chunky, oily, and or gritty, and all the reasons
Why it does
why
break.
you think you're making a good mac and cheese and you're trying to and it's not working. We'll talk about what's going on there and how to fix it, because you can get any cheese into a macaroni except for maybe Parmesan probably is not going to melt out of it.
No.
But you can get almost any fair cheese in there that you like. You just got to set it up correctly.
Yep. Anyway, we should probably cut out for the night because it is getting late and I have
We
to work
just had
tomorrow.
at the Pratt's, or well, at
Oh,
last
what?
weekend, a friend of Jamie
Oh, you mean the
Mosier,
beef and the cheese?
yeah, and they
Yeah.
called it Polish oopsie or Polish mistake or something. I'm like, what's that? So it's this nice like little toast rounds. There's a pic, and it's got ground beef and ground pork. So you could use whatever you had, general ground stuff or your leftover ground bits if you're doing a butchering. And it
And
was
then some
basically
cheese.
picked up in like a cheddar cheese until it cooks down and just coats it in cheese, and then it's smeared on bread. And it's, yeah, and she called it like Polish mistake, is what I said. What is that? What's in there? She tells me, she goes, oh, what do you call it? It looks good. She goes, oh, we call it Polish mistake. I said, well, I said I totally figured it out, and it was actually pretty good. So that would be really close to doing the ground beef and Velveeta and shells. It'd be very similar.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we should wrap up for the
Oh,
night.
white
It's
picket
like,
fence, yeah. Replays coming up for anybody who wants to see that.
yeah, as soon as that goes through the YouTube processing. So
We got we started out with 12 people. We got 15 on now. We get more people at the 10
at the end.
our after show 10 o'clock gets
Yeah.
more people than our
We're
beginning
supposed
show.
to end at 10.
I
And we
know.
get more and more people coming in at 10. It's so funny. But anyway, we will definitely be on next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, our usual time, our usual place.
Eating leftover turkey sandwiches. I don't know if we're even getting any turkey to bring back.
If we get some leftovers to come back from my
I got
sisters.
2 turkeys in the freezer. I got
We
one
can make
from
our
a
own.
friend's farm.
Yeah.
That we
And we
just
got a
picked
cheap
up
one.
tonight. We got an option. We got a really good deal on
Yeah.
a farm raised, unbrined. And then
I think she raises heritage breeds.
Typically they mix them up, and then I had to give in and buy the grocery store special this week. I think it was 87 cents, whatever, the white gem. I got like as big a one as I could get, because it's like, you know what, you can always cook a turkey at some other point, and I like to smoke them, or there's so much you can do with a large turkey at 87 cents a pound, even though they're not premium turkey meat.
Check out the links below, guys.
So, yeah, we got them in the freezer.
Yeah, so check out the links below. I have links to the two families that we're doing, two family and Haywire Homestead, who are doing the collabs with this week. I have links to Lillie House, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and their webpage and Blogspot.
Cindy's working on the anarchist principle of helping whatever you're doing helps everybody else and eventually helps you out.
Okay. We're listening to a podcast.
We were listening to about Russian anarchist theory related to business.
It's a Zingerman's. If you guys know Ann Arbor and Zingerman's.
Thanks to my mom who sent an article.
Yes.
It's the podcast of an article she was reading on and gave up. I found it was actually a podcast and just listened to it. Way easier than an hour podcast or reading.
Which you can find, Kara, if you want to find that podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to go because I have to work tomorrow. I'm not off all week. I'm just off a couple days. So
I'm off all week. I don't have anything to do.
You run a business.
I got all kinds of wholesale orders tomorrow.
Yeah, you do.
I'm sure. Because I got to get them all done and sent out by Wednesday, obviously.
Tina says, okay, start at 10. The only problem is my bedtime is supposed to be like now,
Mm.
when I have to work on
I
Monday.
like working. I would way rather work late and get up later.
I would way rather work late and get up later too, except I can't get up later. I have to get up with the sunrise anyway and let the chickens out. Okay, guys, have a good night. Have a great Thanksgiving. We will definitely see you guys next week. And same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and same place on Part Time Permies. Talk to you guys later.
Good night.